Kevin Borich, welcome to Australian Musician.
Thank you. Lovely to be here.
We're talking about your album Duets, which is a fabulous album featuring a heap of legendary artists. Yeah, there it is. What was the starting point for this album?
Starting point was, there's been some Duets albums out and about, and I thought it's a great idea. It was suggested to me years ago, but I never followed through with it. But what really brought it to the forefront was some songs that I'd written on piano. These are my piano fingers, like ham fist. It's pretty rough, but I can come up with stuff, and it's just somewhere else to get inspiration from. And I had a couple of songs like that, and I thought, well, these are never going to get done, really, because we're a three-piece rock, funk, and blues band. So we went. The songs are crying out, finish me kind of thing. And I said, well, let's do a duets album and I can get other people in to help, service the song. And really that's the first sort of reason that we really, we had songs in disarray, not finished. And my producer who lives close by, we had the pandemic lock us all down. And we had to work on something, and that was the thing to push through. And because we weren't doing live work, so we weren't exhausted from driving all over Australia and stuff. So that whole situation caused many nights in the studio downstairs here, yeah. And got through, and then of course you've got to that brought an idea of a name of a song, Call a Friend, come and work on my album. And that, they weren't all friends, close friends, which I could do, like Russell Morris. Very, he's a close friend and lives up here now. So I asked him first, and then Tim Rogers. I saw a thing in Rolling Stone that Going to See My Baby Tonight turned him on to be into music, which in my case it was Little Richard and Rock Around the Clock, So that's how it sort of got going.
Yeah. So were any of the songs co-writes with any of the artists?
Ended up Leo helped me, Leo Sayer, because I had a piano song that was Baby Could Help Me Find a Way, and it was a bit more boy, girl, male, female thing, and I'm sick of those songs kind of thing. There's so many. A lot of songs are about that, the relationship thing. And I thought, well, the peace sign has faded because at that stage there's all those riots going on. And I thought, what happened to the peace sign? Well, let's try and resurrect that as a relationship. And I said to Leo, look, I'm struggling, and I gave him that idea about what I thought it should be, and he came back a couple of days later with Bring Back Lovin' Back Again, and I'm going, why didn't I think of that? And then he helped me with the rest of them too.
Yeah,
so that's come up great.
There are a lot of very different singers on the album. Was the vocal approach challenging for you, finding the right key and the right style to match each artist?
I surprised myself actually by just persevering with it and seeing what I could deliver, and it's not too shabby. It fits. There's no drastic thing. I mean, the thing that you've got a soul song like what was it, the Ian Moss one, which is straight from the heart, which is really a bluesy soul song. And it was crying out for a real beautiful soul voice like Ian's, And so you can hear mine is not that like that, but it seems to work. To me, it does anyway. And maybe you it doesn't. But, it's come up great. And I've surprised myself by not being too, they can't wait for the next phrase that Ian's going to sing or something. It's kind of like it works okay,
I think that's one of the best things about the album is the harmony.
Yeah, there's that word, diversification. So It's a very in word at the moment.
Yeah. So were you able to record in the studio with each artist?
No, the way, especially with Joe Walsh, of course, because he was over, he lives in America, and so we just used the internet sort of situation where we sent. I contacted Joe, and actually he let me know when he invited my wife and myself to see an Eagles show the last time they were here in Brisbane. And as we were leaving his dressing room before he went on, he said, "Hey man, if you ever wanted me to play on anything, just let me know." So I followed up on that, and sure enough, he did.
Yeah. So,
and it was like Russell Morris he lives in Queensland now. So we just took out the computer, had the backing track all done, and got him and went down to set up in his lounge room, and took him some great mic preamp and a good mic, headphones, and the computer. And Nick O'Donnell, who's my producer and knows how to work all the stuff, we were there, and he just did it in his lounge room, and he sang the whole song, and then we pieced my version in. So because I sent my version up to everyone as a guideline vocal for them, and said work on it and do what you think is needed, Yeah, so it worked really well. And like the other one was Suze DeMarchi. She was in the studio in Melbourne with the baby animals, and in a break from their recording, she asked the engineer if she could put vocal on that. So it was done in a studio like that, and Joe Camilleri did that because he's got his own studio, and then we went down to Leo, south of Sydney, where he lived, and backing track again to him, and he put all his vocals on there. So it was different. The only person to come here was Ian Moss, because he was trapped in Noosa because of the lockdown pandemic. So he's loved to come down because there wasn't much else going on. He'd already done his gigs and couldn't get back to New South Wales. So he spent the day here doing it and playing some guitar on it, amazing stuff. So that was fantastic. So different ways, we'd go to people, they'd come to us, and the internet filled that gap.
Yeah, there's such a variety of styles on the album. The track "I'm Together" with Ella Hooper, it's almost Dixieland jazz.
Yeah, I had recorded that on the Big Kahuna, which is a live CD, and we recorded that as a 3-piece sort of blues band, But Nick suggested it be trad jazz. And I thought, great, it reminds me of that. It's not exactly like it, but it reminds me of Peter Sellers and Sophia Loren. Remember that song? Boom, diddy, boom, diddy, boom, diddy, boom, diddy, boom, diddy, boom, diddy, boom, boom, boom. Oh, goodness gracious me. You remember that one? It because it's the quirky one of the whole album, really, isn't it? It steps right away from everything else,
Covered in Blue with Angela Fabian, another jazz-tinged blues ballad.
Yeah.
You have jazz influences?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I love some jazz, not all of it, but when it speaks to you, you can't help but be an influence. And I wanted that song because it's about Amy Winehouse, and it's dedicated to her going. She took all her colours and left us with blue. So, and I loved it, and I know some chords that I love that sound pretty jazzy, and so just went in that direction and followed what came out. And Angela was she was suggested to me, and because I wanted a soul voice, because I've got the gospel one with Swanee, and I wanted to have real gospel type singing, and this fellow Mick told me to look at the voice and Angelina doing Amazing Grace, and you go, wow, she was so fantastic. And I asked her, and she was so lovely, and said yes. And so I got her to do the backings on Swanee, the gospel song, and then asked her to do Covered in Blue. So it was amazing meeting her. She's wonderful, and she's a lovely woman too.
Yeah. And Joe Walsh, I suppose that relationship goes back to the Party Boys?
Yeah, it started there. We did 2 tours with Joe back then. And then he came out here, even when I'm up here in Maloney, that was when I lived in Sydney, the first time anyway. And then there's this fellow, he's got a big cattle farm, and he holds a festival like for 500 people at the back of Taree, about 40 minutes west. And it's a little festival that I've done previously. And he goes, "Hey man, you know Joe Walsh. Why don't you ask him to come out here and play on the farm?" And I'm going, "And what, in the cow shed?" He said, "Yeah, this is where we set up. It's." And I said, "Look, I don't think Joe will be interested. He's probably playing at the White House. I don't think that's going to happen." But I did put it to Joe, and he was in England, and I got a call back. He said, "Hey man, I'm over here in London doing the 50th anniversary of the Stratocaster solo show, and with a bunch of other guys. So I can do that farm thing that you're asking me." Well, because the Eagles will be out and I'll be able to hook into them after. So he flew out a huge flight, and I blacked out the windows downstairs, and like Elvis, and he slept for a couple of days, and then came up and we had a run through, and he was in the cow shed in back of Taree in front of 500 people, and the people are going, "Wow, I can't believe it." But that's the type of guy Joe is.
The Tractor Fires, did it take long to come together?
The Fires was inspired by Mark, who's a supporter who comes to my shows in around Canberra down there, and the Fires went right through his place, and then he let me know, and just how he was so depressed, and I took one line out of him. I wrote a little poem, but I took one line out, and I used that line, and then I wrote. Like how he explained it was like being there in a way. So I could feel that from him emotionally, and that's how the lyrics came. The rest of the lyrics came. Yeah, that one really did come through pretty quick.
Yeah. You spoke a bit about Mossy, Straight From My Heart. It's like anything Ian sings, it becomes a soul song, doesn't it?
Yeah, he's got a natural sound and resonance and vibrato. It's he's lucky to have that voice, blessed,
Yeah. Did any of the end results of any of the songs surprise you?
Well, yeah, the great surprise on the album is the song about the banks, which is called Soapbox Bitchin'. And I'd already recorded that in a version where it was an upright bass, really laid back. I'm on the 1930 National playing slide, and it's boom like that, and it's going like that. And Doc Span's playing beautiful licks on his harp, and you can almost hear the chain gang, and then that was 2014 when that was on the Totem album. And so we go through that, and then a few years ago, and all of a sudden Westpac get busted again. And I get really angry, right? And I'm going to do a heavy metal version of it. The same song, but I'm going to do drop it down to C, and who am I going to get to sing that? The opening line goes, "I'm angry." I said, "Wow, it speaks for itself." And sure enough, there's angry. And he did it with Dario Bortolini, who's the bass player in Baby Animals, and he's got a little studio. So Angry went there and did it. And I said to Dario, "Get Angry, really angry to sing it, right?" And he did, and he did a little rap in the middle about Robin Hood, so that's really surprised me, and it's a lot of fun to play as well.
Yeah. So what guitars did you use on the album?
For that song specifically, I busted out this Firebird that's non-reverse with 3 P90 pickups in it, and it's got that really between humbucker and Strat pickup sound. So it's got a unique thing. So I use that, but the other was on like the Fires is on the other old Firebird, which is the upside down one that looks like a coffee table when you put three legs on it. I call it the coffee table because I think I made a table like that in high school. For that, put three legs on that, and that'd be a pretty good table. And then Stratocaster, and then for the jazzy one, I used quite a fat acoustic Epiphone, jazz guitar, which is beautifully got lots of inlays on it with flat wound strings to get that that kind of silky sort of sound, and to sort of fit in with that treatment of that song.
Has the way you record guitars changed much over the years?
Well, I remember when I did my first three-piece album, which I did under the La-Di-Da's name, and it's called Rock and Roll Sandwich. And it's got a cover on it now you wouldn't be able to do. and we went to EMI at the time, and we played, and it's in those days the studios were very sound absorptions on the walls everywhere, and so the sound didn't come and live. These days they've fixed that, but so we went into a live situation with a 16-track or 8-track. EMI guys did that, and we recorded it in a live venue, and then took it in the studio and finished it there. So now that's the change now. The liveness of the room to make the sound live instead of being sucked up is a big change that happened back then. And but my studios, they've got a live sort of thing, a good mix of live and absorption. And we did all the recording downstairs here. And I got some great preamps and some good mics. And I had Nick, my producer, who knows how to work everything.
Yeah. How do you approach your solos in the studio? Do you write them out, or is it all about feel and being in the moment?
Write them out? No way. What do you think? I'm a musician or something? I actually, on Totem, I had this horn player do some bouncing with me, and I sent it to him. He says, "Man, you write horn parts, So what comes out is in that nature." So I approach it by playing it back and then just having a go at it, and then seeing where it can go. The song is usually gives you what kind of energy should be in it. If it's laid back, well, you go with that, and or what the lyrics are about, what the whole song's about has I hope has something to do with what you're gonna lay in there. There's the great song that sort of surprised that Hate Pill. I don't know if you've heard that one with Ross Wilson on it. Yep. That is kind of like a real angry thing, but it's about there should be really why take that when it was all the riots were going on, remember, and it's almost like the rest in the middle where the song takes a love pill and it changes, and it's really quite a great release for about how people should be more that way instead of the angry and aggressive, So and I think that suits because it's got that goes into that peaceful bit, and then it comes back into the sort of more aggressive. And so the solo on that is a gentle thing.
Yeah. You've been playing, been out on the road. Have you been playing many of the songs on this tour?
We did six on the songs. They're really the piano ones are the hard ones we really can't grab, I'd have to get a piano player in, but I actually lost money doing the last tour, but because I said, what am I doing here in Melbourne in winter? And it's really cold. Must be that global warming, I thought. And so hopefully when this kicks on and things get more and we get into summer, we can tour. Maybe we'll get into that, or we could, would be to stretch out and do those songs. But we've played a good chunk of them. I mean, we even leave ones like that. The one with Ella Hoop, I'm Together. I can do that 3-piece because that's how I recorded it in the first place. Covered in Blue, I do that. I've done that just solo because it's got, if you just get into it and play relaxed and really feel it, it comes out great as just a solo song. Straps and Heart, Wrapped in Rock, I can do that. I'm going out to do a store promotion thing soon, and I was downstairs with the acoustic because I don't have to take amps and everything. So and I thought, we'll have a go. I hate pill and acoustic. It's really rocking. I mean, it works if I can work on it and get it. I'll probably be up to. I'll do a different version, but it still has the song is strong enough to be able to do on acoustic and solo, which is really what you need. But when you're doing a heavy metal song on acoustic, well, it doesn't quite have the same approach. The decibels aren't there.
So was the album an enjoyable process? Would you consider a Duets 2 album?
Not at this time, because it was very hard to pull together. And well, I'm 76 this year. By the time it comes around, maybe in another life. I think we've done and dusted that for a bit. So, but I tell you what, it was fun and it was educational for me to actually be around people who take a song and have got a gift of a great voice, to watch them go through it and enhance what I've done. And so it was a very enjoyable and sort of many thanks to those people who have devoted their time. I was pretty surprised really about how the reaction I got from that people wanted to do it. And I'm very indebted and love those people for giving the songs, that extra touch that made them really real.
Yeah. So the album's out now. What's on for the rest of the year and into 2024?
Yeah, we drip fed some songs. We Call a Friend came out really early before we thought we should have a strategy. That was just like, I'll put it out, but you're learning how to try and sell things, and that's why I'm here. And thanks to you, you're going to be getting it out to musicians and stuff. That's great. You want focus to be on the songs because people have put stuff into it, and all those people have got followers as well. So we're hoping that it's going to really grow, and people are going to love it.
Yeah. So the rest of the year, you're doing some more dates?
Oh yeah, we'll be out. We've got a weekend coming up this tomorrow. I go down to Gold Coast and do some shows there, and Ballina. We go up to Toowoomba, and it'll be further afield as especially when summer starts coming, because it's always great to have the weather on side when you're out doing, and having it not so cold as when it was in Melbourne is a great thing, and I'm looking forward to it. So we'll be out there shaking our thing and pushing it for people. And I love selling my stuff at shows. I go down and mingle at the where we sell the merchandise, because those people have come to see me and they've been able to support me over many years of playing what I love doing. So I owe a lot to these people who pay the money and come and see us.
Yeah. Right, KB, it's a fabulous album. It's been great to chat, and we'll catch you next time.
Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for having me.